I was trying to fix my health issues, and I had a mystical experience. I wanted to stop snoring, sleep deeply, clear my brain fog, reduce inflammation in the joints, stop heart palpitations, get some energy, improve joint pain, prediabetes, high blood pressure, and fix a painful swollen gland under my jaw. It started as normal health troubleshooting. I changed my diet. I used a very specific supplement protocol. My goal was practical and measurable. What happened next shattered the way I used to see reality itself. To make sense of it, I had to go far beyond nutrition. I spent hundreds of hours researching online, listening to doctors and practitioners, comparing sources, checking mechanisms, and using AI to help me organize and elaborate on the material. I did not arrive at these conclusions randomly. I got there through obsessive research because I was trying to save my life. Before all this, I was in bad shape. I was in my early 40s, eating what most people would call a healthy Mediterranean-style diet. Fresh vegetables, olive oil, sourdough, little alcohol, no junk food lifestyle. And my body was falling apart. I had terrifying brain fog. I would walk into the walk-in fridge at work and forget why I was there. Thoughts would vanish mid-sentence. I had heavy joint pain, especially knees and back. My blood pressure was high. I had heart palpitations bad enough to see a cardiologist. I had reached about 115 kilos. My vision was worsening, and my stamina was gone. The worst issue was sleep apnea, around 70 episodes a night. My airway kept collapsing, my brain kept losing oxygen, and my body had to shock itself awake over and over with adrenaline and cortisol. I was never getting real restorative sleep. My nervous system was stuck in survival mode. Doctors wanted me on CPAP. I understood why, but I did not want lifetime symptom management. I wanted the root cause. So I started researching and experimenting on my body. At the beginning, I tried lowering carbs through a more plant-heavy keto approach. Avocado, coconut oils, spinach, kale, arugula, almonds, chia seeds, more fiber, more healthy plants. I got worse. What I eventually concluded from much research is that plant defense chemicals, especially oxalates, bind minerals like calcium, iron, and magnesium, reduce absorption of nutrients, and contribute to crystal formation that can irritate digestive tissues and also give joint pain. So I realized I made things worse by pushing more fiber. Instead of helping digestion, I developed worse IBS and intense colon pain, more bloating, more inflammation, more pain. That is when I started studying doctors like Ken Berry and Anthony Chaffee and looking at nutrition through evolutionary biology. The more I researched, the more I saw modern food patterns as a possible mismatch with human biology. So I stripped everything down. I cut out vegetables, grains, seed oils, refined sugar, and eventually fruit and honey too. I went as minimal as possible: meat, organs, eggs, and raw milk cheeses. Zero fiber, zero carbohydrates. The turnaround was dramatic. My IBS disappeared. My headaches stopped. My joint pain stopped. I lost around 30 kilos. My sleep apnea vanished. I stopped snoring. My blood pressure normalized. The palpitations disappeared. My prediabetes reversed. My brain fog lifted. My clarity came back. My stamina came back. It felt like I had finally understood and healed myself. But one problem remained: the swollen salivary gland under my jaw. Doctors told me to manage it, or eventually remove it. I refused to stop there. So I turned to biochemistry. Again, not randomly, I spent a long time researching mechanisms and protocols. The core of my stack was high-dose vitamin D3 and K2, plus Lugol's iodine, magnesium, and selenium. My goal was simple: decalcify soft tissue from the inside. What made sense to me from the research was simple. Vitamin D3 helps bring calcium into circulation. K2 helps direct it into bones and teeth instead of soft tissues. And magnesium helps prevent it from hardening in the wrong places. Iodine and selenium were there to support glandular tissue and the detox side of the process. So this was not a random supplement stack. It was a targeted attempt to move calcium out of soft tissues and help the body put it where it belongs. Physically, it worked. The gland shrank. The pain dropped. But I believe I was not only affecting my jaw, I was likely decalcifying more broadly, including the pineal gland. The more I researched the pineal gland, the more fascinating it became. Biologically, it regulates melatonin, circadian rhythm, and sleep. But across ancient traditions, it is also linked to inner perception, the third eye, the antenna of consciousness. I did not adopt that idea casually. I researched both the biology and the symbolism, so strange sensations started. Pressure in the center of my forehead, tingling, waves of heat moving up my spine. At first I assumed supplement side effects. Then, one day, out of curiosity born from my research on the symptoms I was going through, I sat down and tried to meditate. I had never seriously meditated before. I thought meditation was thinking about stuff, whatever, happy stuff or past stuff. I was practical, grounded, physical. But when I closed my eyes and I deeply relaxed and breathed slowly but intentionally, it was not relaxation. It was a rupture. The darkness behind my eyelids dissolved. I found myself in what felt like an immense void, but it was full of presence. I perceived landscapes, luminous beings, and music that felt alive. Light seemed to explode in every direction. I saw a radiant dove-shaped being of pure light and interact with me. It did not feel imaginary. It felt more real than ordinary reality. After that, I had to understand what had happened. That is when I found Kundalini awakening. I researched it deeply, compared the descriptions point by point, and the overlap shocked me. Forehead pressure, spinal heat, energy surges, altered perception, bliss, and visionary states. It matched almost exactly. But I also asked the hard question, why interpret this spiritually at all? Why not just call it chemistry? I researched that too. That is what eventually pushed me toward Federico Fagan and his idea that consciousness is fundamental, not a byproduct of matter. Fagan was not just some spiritual thinker with abstract ideas. He was the engineer behind the first commercial microprocessor, the Intel 4004, one of the key people who helped build the digital age. Later in life, he turned his attention toward the problem of consciousness and argued that consciousness cannot be reduced to matter alone. His view is that consciousness is primary, and that matter, space, time, and physical reality emerge from a deeper conscious field. He also connects this to quantum mechanics, especially the idea that observation and free will may play an active role in collapsing potential reality into experienced reality. That hit me hard, because it gave me a framework where consciousness was not just a side effect of the brain, but something fundamental, with the brain acting more like an interface or receiver than the creator of awareness itself. That framework gave me a way to connect biology, direct experience, spirituality, and quantum theory without abandoning reason. The conclusion I reached was that the chemical and spiritual explanations may overlap. Chemistry may be the mechanism. The spiritual dimension may be what is being perceived through that mechanism. The best way I can explain it is this. The brain, nervous system, and pineal gland are like biological receiver hardware. If that hardware is clouded by inflammation, toxicity, calcification, and dysfunction, maybe it only picks up the densest frequencies of reality. Clean the receiver, reduce the static, and you may not be creating a hallucination. You may be tuning into something that was already there. What came after was hard, involuntary body movements, a lot of body purging itself, vomiting, saliva overproduction, spontaneous movements called kriyas, twisting in my neck, jaw, and throat, emotional purging, spontaneous forgiveness, sudden compassion, whole blocks of understanding arriving at once, sensitivity to places and people, a total collapse of my old worldview. I had been rational and pragmatic, but after what I lived, and after the research that followed, I came to believe in a loving, infinite creator. I lost my fear of death. I came to see consciousness as something far bigger than biology alone. So when I look back at the whole arc, this is what I see. I started as a man trying to stop sleep apnea and get his life back. I changed my biology. I cleared the hardware. I changed the receiver. And by changing the receiver, I changed what reality I could perceive. So maybe reality is not just simply material, maybe your antenna is just dirty like mine was, and you can't access to the spiritual reality easily, but you could. My hope is that you also can clean it like I did, with dietary choices and supplements, and experience what is behind our material world.